Hola, buenos días. Bueno, pues la verdad es que muy satisfecha de poder acoger esta reunión informal, este Consejo Informal de Ministros de Transportes de la Unión Europea en el marco de la presidencia española del Consejo de la Unión, y además una reunión muy importante porque nos va a permitir, desde luego, pues continuar con esa reflexión, ese debate sobre cómo el transporte, sobre cómo los medios de transporte, en este caso, tienen que servir para seguir fomentando la cohesión social y territorial entre los Estados de la Unión Europea, y también cómo, desde luego, siempre hemos entendido la movilidad como una herramienta que debe facilitar el acceso de los ciudadanos a otros derechos como el trabajo, la vivienda, la educación, y por lo tanto esperando durante esta mañana poder compartir reflexiones, poder compartir experiencias y también iniciativas que nos ayuden a trabajar en este sentido. Vamos a abordar paquetes muy interesantes, paquetes legislativos, paquetes que tratan de la seguridad vial, paquetes que tratan también sobre la seguridad marítima, cuestiones desde luego que nos tienen que ayudar pues, a hacer, ¿no?, precisamente de nuestras infraestructuras que sean más sostenibles, infraestructuras que sean cada vez más resilientes, infraestructuras también que se sirvan de la digitalización para poder dar un mejor servicio a los ciudadanos y a las ciudadanas, porque no olvidemos que son ellos los que están en el centro de nuestras políticas. Además, vamos a acabar este Consejo Informal de Ministros con la suscripción por parte de todos los ministros de la Declaración de Barcelona, que precisamente va a poner el foco en todas estas cuestiones que les planteaba. Bueno, saben, y durante estos días lo hemos aclarado, estamos ultimando todavía con la Comisión ese acuerdo relativo a la adenda del Plan de Recuperación, Transformación y Resiliencia. No está cerrado todavía, pero somos optimistas. Yo creo que hemos compartido esa reflexión, ¿no?, sobre qué otras medidas nos pueden permitir, desde luego, introducir incentivos para que se utilicen otros sistemas de transporte. Estamos hablando sobre todo del transporte ferroviario de mercancías. Hemos planteado otras medidas alternativas a ese sistema del pago por uso, como es la introducción de coincentivos ferroviarios, como es seguir trabajando en las autopistas ferroviarias, como es también la bonificación de los cánones que se pagan por el transporte de mercancías a través del tren, y por lo tanto estamos compatibilizando y dando alternativas que en este caso la Comisión Europea ha recibido satisfactoriamente. Además, hay que tener en cuenta que cuando se propuso esta medida en el Plan de Recuperación, Transformación y Resiliencia, no se daban las mismas circunstancias que se están dando en la actualidad, que además la pasada primavera se aprobó por parte de la Comisión Europea la directiva que establece que a partir del año 2027 se va a establecer en toda la Unión Europea un sistema de contabilidad de emisiones. Por lo tanto, el establecimiento de un sistema de pago por uso podría suponer en ese momento un doble gravamen, ¿no? Por lo tanto, entendemos que hemos dado unas alternativas que la Comisión Europea recoge positivamente y que, por lo tanto, dadas también las actuales circunstancias y el actual marco normativo que viene de esa directiva de la Unión Europea, podemos plantear esa alternativa al sistema de pago por uso. Bueno, la verdad es que no conocemos el alcance de esa propuesta. Además, debo decir que no forma parte tampoco del orden del día del trabajo de este Consejo Informal de Ministros. Escucharemos, evidentemente, si el ministro francés plantea esa cuestión, pero no, insisto, en la reunión que vamos a tratar. En cualquier caso, una medida en ese sentido pues tiene que ser analizada profundamente para ver cuál es su encaje jurídico. Debemos recordar que el sector aéreo está liberalizado y que, por lo tanto, como les decía, eso hay que analizarlo con rigor, el impacto que puede tener, el impacto económico, el impacto también sobre los diferentes territorios, porque cada país tiene unas circunstancias y, por lo tanto, como les decía, no vamos a llegar a ninguna conclusión en ese sentido y esperaremos escuchar esa propuesta. ¿Perdón? Mire, yo creo en fin, ¿no? El Partido Socialista ya ha explicado clarísimamente cuál es su posicionamiento. Creo también que, en fin, no me corresponde entrar en valoraciones de unas declaraciones que se hacen a título personal, que representan única y exclusivamente a las personas que las formulan. Estamos ahora en un momento en el que de aquí pocos días vamos a celebrar el debate de investidura de Feijóo, que ya sabemos, intuimos cuál va a ser el resultado. Por lo tanto, es el momento de que el señor Feijóo explique cuál es su proyecto de país. Durante estas semanas no lo ha hecho. Una vez se celebre ese debate de investidura, le corresponderá a Pedro Sánchez plantear su proyecto de país. Nosotros lo haremos, nosotros tenemos un proyecto de país que entienda la riqueza, la diversidad, la pluralidad y con ese marco, ¿no? Además que siempre hemos dicho que es el marco de la Constitución y con nuestra herramienta, que es el diálogo, vamos a presentar el mejor proyecto que entendemos para este país, y eso es lo que nosotros como socialistas, el Partido Socialista Obrero Español, puede ofrecer a la ciudadanía, más allá de aquellas opiniones personales que representan pues, a quienes las formulan. Quiero insistir en eso. Absolutamente, absolutamente. Los socialistas yo creo que hemos demostrado, ¿no?, la firmeza en nuestras convicciones y por lo tanto, pues mire, absolutamente, y me parece pues un intento a la desesperada del Partido Popular, de algunos dirigentes del Partido Popular, apelando, ¿no?, a ese transfugismo, ¿no? La verdad es que es un ejercicio, en fin, ¿no?, de puro esperpento y además también una muestra un poco de lo desesperados que están ante una investidura que lo único que ha hecho es hacernos perder tiempo a los españoles y a las españolas. Gracias.
Good morning, everybody. Malta is very grateful to the Spanish presidency for keeping our priorities at heart. Of course, today we're going to discuss mobility. Usually we discuss the decarbonization and digitalization of mobility. Today we have two other topics, the dimension of social realm and the territorial dimension. To start with the social dimension, we are talking about having transport and mobility which is cheap, which is accessible, which is affordable and efficient, of course, and safe. And then there's a territorial dimension, and for Malta this is very important because we're not part of mainland Europe, and therefore we have the insularity problem, and for our Gozo Island, they have double insularity. So these are the topics which we look forward to tackle today. Thank you very much.
Could you also talk about legislative files, for example, the driving license?
It's much more of an informal meeting, so we will have opportunity to discuss our expertise and best practices sharing together with all member states.
What do you think of the proposals in the European Parliament to make it more difficult for young people to drive unaccompanied
Well,
driving?
it's a double-edged sword. On one side, we need less cars on our roads, so that will be a positive thing. But second thing, you have to make it accessible too. So I would complement that with affordable transport system. In Malta, we are the second country in the European Union offering free public transport for everybody. So that's a compensation. Okay?
Hello, good morning. Really glad to be here. The Spanish presidency has put some really interesting topics on the table. We will discuss cohesion from the social and geographical aspect, and really glad to take part of these discussions because it's really important topic as well in Estonia, because we have quite a similar logistical area. So really hoping to see good discussions today, hoping to have some new and fresh ideas from all the member states around the table and to take those ideas back to Estonia and implement them. Thank you.
You want to talk about longer lorries cross-border as well?
No, thank you. Bye.
Morning. What are your expectations? Are you going to talk about legislative files as well on the side? It's an informal summit. Then we'll talk about social cohesion and mobility. I think we have to make a mobility of freedom for everyone in every landscape and to be free of CO2 emission. We have to invest in train, in active mobility, and to find investment to do so. It's a huge goal for all European countries and also for Belgium. What do you think of the European Parliament proposals on driving licenses, accompanied driving? Are you in favor of that? We have to have harmonization between countries. I've some problem with some proposal of the directive for older people. More than 70 years, they have to be careful, but they are careful. And I think we have to find another solution than a new examination every 5 years for them, because they are more careful. They drive more slowly, and it's important for their freedom to have the possibility to have the use of their car till the end of their life. And I think I'm not so in agreement with some proposal, but I think it's very positive that we go for harmonization and more freedom of mobility in Europe with this directive. Cross-border long lorry traffic, are you in favor of that? For us, it's important, cross-border is train, more goods on train. We have a goal with Europe and also in Belgium to double the volume of goods on train because it's good for a lot of things, for road safety, for mobility, because there are a lot of traffic jam in each country. In Belgium it costs each year 4 billion because it has also a huge cost for infrastructure. Then we need more goods on train, more mobility also, and cross-border trucks is also something important between two countries like Belgium and France. We try to find agreement with our colleagues of France. If Europe can help, it's always welcome. I think it's an interesting idea for my French colleague because you have to pay the correct price for flying. And if the price is too low, it means that you work against social conditions for workers and you don't take climate question as serious enough. And we would like, as Belgium government, to have a tax on kerosene. If we can have an agreement at European level, I think we have to give the fair price for aviation. Aviation has a huge impact on climate. It has to be greener in the future, and then a minimal price for to fly is something we must be able to talk about.
Good morning. I look forward to today's discussion. It's great to meet the colleagues again, and we finalized a lot of work during the Swedish presidency. We also started up a lot of work. So looking forward to good discussions today on the cohesion and what the transport infrastructure can do to be a good prerequisite for just cohesion. Under the Swedish presidency, we underlined that the competitiveness must be combined with the green transition, and we see now a great pace in the green transition back in Sweden. And just 2 days ago, I had the opportunity to fly with an electric aircraft for the first time personally. And when we see this high speed of green transition in the transport sector, we also see it comes with a lot of opportunities for companies, for industry, for creating jobs and wealth in Europe. And that also gives us opportunities to strengthen the cohesion in Sweden, a country with a long distance between the cities, in Europe, and also globally. So I'm looking forward to today's discussion.
Would more cross-border long-haul traffic, in your view, also be something which helps cohesion?
Yeah, cross-border transport, of course, is important for cohesion, and for in a Swedish perspective, it's also important for the opportunity for longer and more heavy vehicles. So that's something we will discuss with the Commission and the countries. We have this opportunity today in Sweden with Finland, and we see opportunities for that as well, but also to strengthen the railway capacity for freight capacity, but also for commute transports. That's very important for the social cohesion. We are not for that. We see that it's important to reduce emissions in the aviation sector as well as all the other transport modes. And during the Swedish presidency, we finalized the work with the file Refuel EU Aviation. So we will see a shift in the aviation sector to less emission in the sector, and we see that the airplanes and the aviation will be an important transport mode even in the future for cohesion, for competitiveness, and for people to travel, and not at least in a wide distance country as Sweden, which has long distance from the north to south, for example. Thank you. No, I can't comment that. It's on another minister's fields, but thank you for the question. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. So it's a pleasure to be here. I wanted to note one thing. European Union has a unique tool to increase connectivity in the European Union, the so-called Trans-European Transport Network. It is really the best instrument to promote territorial cohesion, the topic we are going to discuss today, and at the same time to create connectivity with countries outside the European Union. Yet we need to upgrade the current Trans-European Transport Network to meet the realities of nowadays. The first thing what needs to be done is to create transport networks leading to Ukraine, because Ukraine needs alternative transport corridors for the exports, imports, and in general trade. And the second thing what needs to be done is to upgrade the network to include military mobility links, because the European Union can't take security for granted. On the contrary, what needs to be done is to increase financing of dual-use infrastructure and at the same time to increase the funding for military mobility purposes. And I'm sure we will reach the common ground in today's discussions. So thank you very much.
Very pleased to be here in Barcelona today at the informal meeting of the European Union Ministers of Transport. By signing the Barcelona Declaration today, we underline our commitment to offer our citizens accessible, safe and accessible mobility. In developing transport policies, we need to be aware of the special and diverse needs of our citizens. We need to be respectful, and we need to be able to understand the special circumstances that prescribe the life of our citizens. Cyprus is a small and remote peripheral state, and it faces significant challenges because of its geographical location and formation. We therefore cannot stress enough the importance given to mobility and accessibility in providing all our citizens with access to essential services, to the possibility for economic growth, and to maintaining social cohesion and address the needs for bringing the people together. Thank you.
Good morning. I really appreciate that the Spanish presidency opens the question of territory and social cohesion. I'm sure that the transport infrastructure and as well the individual affordable mobility play a key role in keeping and improving the social and territory cohesion. I'm sure that for the European countries, it's necessary to pay attention to the new European legislation, because it's not possible when the transition to zero-emission mobility shouldn't. I'm sure that it's not possible to create the new or to establish the new social barriers in our societies. And it's necessary to make the EU legislation flexible, well-balanced, and feasible for the future. And it's also the reason for our effort to change the Euro 7 proposal, because it's really necessary to keep mobility of common people in a really affordable level. And I can say that also the second really main issue will be the investment to the modern transport infrastructure. Because, for example, high-speed lines is the new, really sufficient tool for better connection throughout the European Union. One more time, I'd like to say thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss the issue of territory and social cohesion. It's definitely the important thing for the future of the European Union and for affordable mobility and definitely closer connection among all European countries.
Good morning. It's great to be here in Barcelona. I have greetings from Finland. We think it is very important that during this day we talk about the transport from the point of view that it must be fluent, safe, affordable for all citizens, for all enterprises, for the business, and of course sustainable. We also see that all the countries should be looked at their geography, the national particularities, characteristics, and for example Finland has a very strategic geographical situation at the moment. So when we talk about the TEN-T network, we have to pay attention to this. And of course, we think that during this day, we must also talk about private cars, because when, for example, in Finland, the distances are very, very long, we need also the private cars, even though the public transports are very important. We are looking forward to these discussions today, and I'm sure it will be very fruitful.
Ο ρόλος των μεταφορών είναι εξαιρετικά σημαντικός για την ενίσχυση της υψηλής και βιώσιμης ανάπτυξης και για την τόνωση της κοινωνικής συνοχής. Σε ευρωπαϊκό επίπεδο εργαζόμαστε για να ενισχύσουμε την προσβασιμότητα, την κινητικότητα και τη συνδεσιμότητα, έτσι ώστε να έχουμε ένα ανταγωνιστικό, ασφαλές, οικονομικά προσιτό και προσβάσιμο σε όλους σύστημα μεταφορών. Σε εθνικό επίπεδο εργαζόμαστε για να εξυγχρονίσουμε και να πρασινίσουμε το στόλο των λεωφορείων, να ενισχύσουμε την ασφάλεια των μεταφορών, να επενδύσουμε στην ηλεκτροκίνηση, αλλά και να επενδύσουμε στις διατηρήσιμες και καλές υποδομές, έτσι ώστε η χώρα να ενισχύσει το ρόλο της στο διευρωπαϊκό δίκτυο μεταφορών. Thank you.